Alright, welcome to Smite, how to counter. And today we have Hercules. It is very important, if you do not know how to already, on how to counter Hercules, because Hercules can be quite a pain in the ass and a beast all in the same time. So, to start off, his health regeneration. Let's pull that up real quick. Mitigate wounds. When Hercules activates this ability, he gains health every second, over 4 seconds. A percentage of damage taken during this time is returned to him as additional healing over the following 10 seconds. So, once you see him use this 3, you know, he should be glowing green on the opponent's side. So if you're looking at him from the other side, you see him glowing. He should be glowing green. And that means he has to activate. So it's not too wise to start using abilities on them, things like that, because as it says, mitigate wounds, damage return to healing, max ranked up to 110% of that. So it's almost like Vamana in a sense. So it's not the wisest thing to waste abilities on him while he has his mitigate wounds on. But there is several ways to work around that and kind of slow its health regeneration to almost a stop. Now, if you're a physical god, go under penetration, go under mace, and right here, right smack in the middle is Brawler's Beat Stick. Has a crazy amount of penetration, which works great because some bruiser Hercules will have quite a bit of physical power. And if you're a physical god, I mean, Brawler's Beat Stick, bam, you get that power, penetration. Also, the passive, enemies hit by your basic attacks have 40% reduced healing and regeneration for 8 seconds. 8 seconds is quite a long time, and it also refreshes every time you smack them upside the face with the basic attack. So that's going to reduce his mitigate wounds by quite a bit, and that should allow you to start beating him down. You can use this item to also shut down healers and other high health regeneration gods like Shock and Vamana. It's a really great item. Now, if you're more of the tanky side, if you're either a bruiser or a tank in itself, if I can find it. Actually, what am I thinking? Yeah, it's under magical. Magical talisman. Alright, on the top right, yeah, it's magical protection. It's not going to help you against Hercules at all, but if you're a tank and you just want, extra defense items or whatever, you can pick this up as well. The Pestilence. The aura effect, the healing and regeneration of enemies within 55 units is reduced by 20%. So if you're a tank, you pick this up, and as long as you're fighting against some type of magical gods, this is useful. If you're only fighting against physical gods in your tank, I would not pick this at all. I mean, the 20% is not really worth it. The 2,000 gold, not really worth it. But, I mean, if you're fighting against Hercules and some mages, definitely pick this up. That's going to help you out, shutting him down as far as his, health regeneration, as far as that goes. Now, if you are on the magical side, if you're a mage or if you're a guardian, you go under lifesteal, and it will be under tiny trinket or tiny talisman, whatever, and in the middle should be divine ruin. Divine ruin works out pretty much the same as Brawler's Beat Stick, except instead of basic attacks, you use abilities to apply it, and that works the same way as Brawler's Beat Stick and Pestilence in a way. So those are the 3 items you're gonna look for as far as shutting down Hercules. Like, let's say in the solo lane, which you probably see Hercules the most in Conquest, if I'm playing Raw, I would, go Vampiric Shroud, Tiny Trinket, finish my boots, go back to Tiny Trinket, level that up to Divine Ruin. That way I can have a much easier time shutting down Hercules in my lane. That's just, how I would process that as far as if I'm a mage. Now, other things besides his 3 is you have to watch out for his ulti. Now, if you're running away from, Hercules, let's say in arena, you won't have to worry. The main thing is try to run, don't stay near walls. That's what I'm trying to get at, because Hercules, if they're pretty good at playing pinball with their ulti, they're gonna be bouncing their ulti off walls, try to trick shot you and whatnot. In Conquest, if you're running away from him in the jungle, it's a little bit more hard to do that because there's walls all over the place. So that that ball's gonna be bouncing quite a bit. The bullet continues rolling, doing the same damage to all enemies in its path. Subsequent hits on the same enemy do 50% less damage per hit. So from what it says, you can hit the same person twice, and that same person can be you. So you want to kind of watch out, for that ball just wrecking You know, try to hit you multiple times with that. Other thing is his really infamous and annoying pop-up is this. So you want to keep your distance. You want to have that imaginary, like, imagine this little thing that you see, this little animation graphic here. You kind of imagine that when you're facing Hercules, like imagine that in front of him, because you want to stay out of that range, like on the side of him or whatever. If you're a ranged god, this would be, you know, somewhat easy. But if you're melee, you don't want to be at the tip end of that. There's a little box around it if you can see it. That's the little part where he's gonna pop you up. Now, if you're in between the pop-up and Hercules himself, you should be fine. He won't pop you up, but you will be in his face for a one of those charges. So I mean, that's another thing, is kind of watch out for the pop-ups. It can go through walls. Now, let's say if you're on the other side of your mirror wall and your mirror wall's between you and Hercules, he can pop you through it and you will like backboard off the mirror wall. I mean, that is a thing. I have seen it. It's pretty funny to watch. But always know that he's always going to, most likely, he should follow up between his pop-up to his, you know, turning around and using his one. Now, much like to your Hercules, some Hercules may buy Blink. This was a trend for a while. I haven't seen it lately anymore. But you know, if Hercules gets kind of lazy, he may just buy Blink, get behind you and just swoop you into his side of the you know, of the map. That is a thing, so watch out for that. Make sure your enemy Hercules doesn't have Blink, so you don't have to worry about that. But just be aware, if he's trying to, you know, like run into for a team fight, he's going to look for an easy victim to pop up and, you know, do that. So when he's running after you, it's best not to backpedal. Backpedal basically means this. Walking backwards like this is a lot slower than just turning around and running the other direction. It's a lot faster than backpedaling. It kind of annoys me when I see this. Like, backpedaling is like one of the worst ideas you can do if somebody's chasing after you and they have a plan. Because he's going to catch up to you easily. So also back on the topic of, you know, he's sort of like tier. If he blinks in or uses his 2, it's always best to like strafe left or right. Like, don't really strafe forward or backwards, because he can still, you know, charge right through you, because he's still in your, you know, his line of sight pathway. So it's good to, you know, strafe left or right away from him. As far as all that stuff, you can also buy an active to help slow his healing. You go under active, go under creep and curse on the top left. It is called a weakening curse. So on top of slowing the movement speed, also their healing is also reduced by 100% for the duration of 5 seconds. So that wraps up for the video. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.